The Type 5 Heavy, a Tier 10 Japanese heavy tank. A vehicle which is the largest in the game by far. Look at the size of it compared to the mouse behind me. It is insane how truly massive this tank is. And for a while, Wargaming was saying it was too large to be put into the Blitz maps. However, this is obviously no longer the case. It has been confirmed by Wargaming official that the Type 5 will be coming into the game. You've all probably seen the short, which I'll be showcasing in just a moment, but in other words, this vehicle will be coming into the game, which is really, really exciting. I think a lot of us have been waiting years for this vehicle. I mean, I made this video 3 years ago saying, will the Type 5 come into Blitz? Like, that's a ridiculous amount of time that we've been waiting for this tank to come into the game. And, the reason why the Type 5 is such a cool vehicle is because it's a tech tree tank on World of Tanks PC, right? You can grind down the line, just like the mouse, and it's the first non-German super heavy, right? This is the only other nation in World of Tanks PC, and now Blitz that will have a super heavy at tier 10, or tier 7 as Wargaming likes to call it in Reforged. And that's sick, especially because it has a 150mm gun, which has even more alpha damage than the E100. I have some statistics of the vehicle to showcase here, and this is what the gun's going to be working with. It has a 152mm with 255 mils of pen, and look at that, 700 damage per shot. That is crazy, 700 damage per shot. And for any of you that have played the SU-100Y or the Tankenstein, the premium AP does more damage. So you deal 800 damage per shot when loading gold, and in return, you have less pen. But, like, that's going to be crazy. And by the way, the high explosive does 1100 damage. This will be one of the highest damaging HE shells in the game. Now, will it have two guns? I have no clue. On World of Tanks PC, the Type 5 Heavy has two different guns. It has a derp gun, which does upwards of 1100 damage with premium high explosive, and then it has a AP firing gun, which is more like a Ho-Re, 560 damage per shot, something along those lines. But either way, the Type 5 is just kind of insane. I mean, this is a vehicle which I'm very, very excited to come into the game. However, there's a big red flag. And some of you already know about this red flag, but it is something that needs to be talked about. What exactly am I referring to? Well, if we take a look at the short that Wargaming posted, right? This was posted 2 days ago. And if we watch it, it's normal stuff. Showcases the Type 5. Looks sick, right? It's got PBR. Looks really, really cool. But if you read the bottom text here, it says, "Behold, the one and only collector, Type 5 Heavy." That's right. It's not going to be a tech tree. It's going to be a collector. Really, Wargaming. All of this waiting, all of this time for the Type 5 to come into the game, and it's going to be a collector? Really? It's going to be a collector. That's crazy. You have a whole line of vehicles. The OI Experimental, and then, you got the Tier 7 and the Tier 8. I always forget the name of those two. And then you have the Type 4 and the Type 5 Heavy. You have the whole line. And you're just going to cut all of those vehicles off so that you can release the Type 5 as a collector and make as much money as possible. That's crazy. And that's pretty low, even for Wargaming, right? I understand releasing the Waffenträger Alpha 100, and I'll give you guys credit. You balanced it. That's good. And it's not a tech tree on any version of the game. So it's fine with me if you want to make the Waffenträger a collector and an expensive one, especially because it's a worse 4005. And, that's the same case for, if Wargaming wanted to add the 279E, for example, that's fine. They can. If they balance it properly and they want to make it a collector, go ahead. But the Type 5 is a tech tree line. And what they're doing is they are completely getting rid of it, just like the AMX 30B, for only the Tier 10. Now, the vehicle is going to be in testing in the next update, as you can see. And what that means is that the vehicle most likely is going to be released around Thanksgiving. That's my guess, because usually it takes around 3 to 4 months for a vehicle after it's entered testing to actually release in the game. So if that's the case, 3 to 4 months, and we'll be looking at around Thanksgiving. The last Thanksgiving vehicles we had were the 116 F3 and the Caro 45 ton. Kara was $300. 116 F3 will be $300. So by following recent trends, we can expect the Type 5 to also be around $300. Yep, that's right. So if you want to get your hands on this vehicle, expect to spend hundreds of dollars. Even if it comes in crates, the crates that Wargaming has been releasing recently have been incredibly expensive. So getting your hands on this vehicle is a very, very hard endeavor. It's just, it's so disappointing to me that a vehicle we've all been waiting years to get is a tank that only a select few of wallet warriors will be able to actually get. Even if the tank sucks, it's just the fact that this is a tech tree line which the players should be able to get their hands on. Now, why are they making this a collector versus a tech tree? Most likely because they can make an insane amount of money off of this, right? That's really the most realistic situation that we can base our opinions off of here, right? Wargaming is a company, and they are quite a greedy company at that. I mean, just in the past couple months, we've had the most monetization we've ever seen in Blitz. We had 2 Tier 10s released within the same month. Both in December, we had the Waffenträger Alpha 100 and the Lion. And not only that, we had the MBTB and BZ176, all within 1 month. That's the most vehicles that have ever been released in a month. Then, just a couple weeks later, we had the Lorraine 50T for the first time sold in crates. And then we had the BZ176 in crates. We will also have the MBTB in crates later this week or month. We have a 136 tank auction currently going on. We had the Titan Strife released not too long ago. Also, the Oho is the line I was thinking of. The Oho and the Oni. These are the Tier 7 and Tier 8. But, yeah, that's what we're working with here. Basically, all of these tanks from Tier 6, Tier 5, all of these vehicles which are normally on the line will not be accessible for anybody to get their hands on. I think that a lot of players are going to agree with me that this is absolute bogus and one of the most disappointing decisions that Wargaming's made in a while. Most likely what they'll do is they will also release the OI, which is a Tier 6 derp gun. So the KV-2 obviously has its 640 damage per shot and 960 HE. The OI is a tech tree heavy, which also features a very high alpha derp gun with, again, realistically 640 alpha on Blitz. So most likely Wargaming is going to release that vehicle also as a premium slash collector, so that players will have to spend even more money. So yeah, why bother making a tech tree when they can monetize the Tier 6 and Tier 10 and charge hundreds of dollars for both of them? What a great company. This just, I don't know, this really disappointed me, because when I first saw the news of this vehicle being added into the game, me and all the other players expected this to be a new tech tree. And then this is what they throw at us, just more monetization. Way to go, Wargaming, you have let down the player base once again. Wow, first Reforged, then this. What's next? Either way, hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.